Hello viewers, my name is Leopold Munhende. Welcome to Newzim TV. With me today is a former war veterans minister, a former Politburo member. You're still a Politburo member? He's still a Politburo member, and he just released an explosive book, Quiet Flows the Zambezi. With me today is Colonel Tshinga Dube. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, thank you.
Colonel, in your book, Quiet Flows the Zambezi, which we will be reviewing a bit, we don't want to share too many details, just in case someone says, I've already heard everything, so I won't buy. You give us your beliefs and thoughts candidly, cleared, without fear or favor. What inspired its writing?
Well, you see, I've been going around in our country or even neighboring countries like South Africa, airports where they sell books, and I don't see anything written about our contribution to the liberation struggle, especially former Zebra. So I thought I would just put just a little bit in my biography to cover that, because I was there and I know what happened. So I'm telling the story, my story, not what I heard from others. Some people always just say, no, why I should have written to cover both liberation movements. But if I wrote about our comrades from former Zanda, I would make a lot of mistakes because it would be all a hearsay.
Okay, and then when did you start writing the book?
I started about 4 years ago, but the situation in our country is so dynamic. It doesn't, you write, then new developments come up. You say, let me wait and see what happens.
So eventually you had to incorporate the November 2017 event.
Yes.
And then another very interesting issue is you raise questions and share statements which one would say are very controversial and are hot potatoes within the ruling Zanu-PF party. What has been the general reception of the book?
No, you see, we are now in a new dispensation. We're used to being guided in our thoughts, just like a sheep. Now with new dispensation, there is room to say what you think. I don't think anyone has been offended by what I say. After all, when you write a book, you must be sure that you will definitely rattle someone's feathers. Yeah, but I try to avoid that. But still, the truth must be told. So, most of those I've seen have constructive criticisms. Just as I've said, some say in my status I should have put both liberation movements, and I've explained why I wouldn't. Others, of course, you always find one or two people who are not happy with me, and they just everything I would do is rubbish.
And then to the viewers, this is the book. I've had opportunity to read part of it, not all of it. It contains quite a lot of issues which I'm sure the Colonel will share with us. It's called Quiet Flows the Zambezi by Colonel Tshinga Dube. And I hear there's also a story around the name, the Tshinga, which I'll ask off air, so that I will share with you. That's when you are saying Palile Manje, so we name Palai. And then Colonel, you are saying that there has been quite a good response to the book. No one feels you stepped on their toes and stuff like that. But you do raise quite some issues which include maybe your views that a coalition, some sort of a coalition between the Zanu-PF government and the Movement for Democratic Change, the opposition led by the late Mnangagwa then, could have resulted in us getting out of this economic quagmire we are in. Such statements, and also you talked of how we responded, how our government responded on 1 August 2018. Sharing such things, for lack of a better word, a bit treasonous in Zimbabwe. I wouldn't know about the new dispensation. You talked of the new dispensation. What can you say about that?
Well, you see, I strongly believe in that. Not just because maybe I have any sympathies with any party or so. I'm the Zanu PF, but there is no question about it. But I look at what other countries are doing. If I've been mentioning, for instance, Kenya, how Kenya got to where they are today because of uniting. Kenyatta remains the president of Kenya, there's no doubt about it. But he had to accommodate the opposition. Because the opposition, like, then I know there are many parties in Kenya, just like we have here. But you don't waste time on the small parties who have no following at all. But he chose to work with Odinga.
So in other words, would a pollard discussion between President Emmerson Mnangagwa and opposition President Nelson Chamisa be more beneficial to the country as to the current setting?
I don't think so. I don't think this inviting all these small parties who are not represented even in the parliament, it will give us any assistance. You know, the fact that they're not presented in parliament, it means that they're not following. So all those who have a following have a representation in parliament. Even, for instance, we have MDC Alliance, we have MDCT led by Thokozane. I'm not sure whether they
I think they have about 2 or 3 proportional.
It's all right. Then they can also, they have people then. We can see that they have a few people representing them, following them. So those can be invited. But like a man like Nkosana Moyo, who had no party, he was a lone ranger. How do we invite him as who? As an individual. He's not representing people, but he also aspires to be a president.
And then still on that, how would you rate the change from the old dispensation? I'm going to call it the old dispensation of late President Robert Mugabe and the new dispensation.
Yeah, there is a remarkable difference. I know we have our own shortcomings, but there is an amount of freedom. I always say, like Nkrumah said, a better freedom in chaos than servitude in tranquility.
Okay.
You see, we were in such a situation in the last dispensation that we're not sure whether we're citizens or just a group of slaves.
And then how was the environment before I move forward? How was it interacting with the late Robert Mugabe and his wife Grace Mugabe during their tenure?
I think President Mugabe was a really nationalist. But you see, as soon as he got married to his wife, the new wife, he started on very well. The wife kept away from politics. But the moment she got into politics, everything went wrong. First of all, I thought President Mugabe would ask her to hold, to reign herself. But I was surprised that he instead agreed with what the wife was saying. So I just said, no, things have gone wrong. And so that's it. Before that, he was quite reasonable. Though, of course, I mean, he had overstayed and getting old and definitely needed some younger person to take the reins.
And then did you, by any chance, ask him to rein in Grace, any one of you, at that time?
I didn't ask him to rein Grace. I told him myself that it was time to quit. We must find somebody to succeed him. And for that I got a boot from the cabinet.
So before we come back to the book, how was it? We were so used to reshuffles under President Robert Mugabes. How was it getting into cabinet and going out of cabinet? How interesting is ZANU-PF politics? Or how interesting was it?
No, you see, I cannot speak on behalf of others, but I knew that I was definitely going to be reshuffled because I had rattled feathers of very important people, like the wife herself, and like those Mandi, men, some of those war veterans who had declared themselves to be leaders, who were not elected at all. All those were very angry with me, and I knew that I would never overcome the wrath of all these people against me. So, for instance, 3 days before the reshuffle came, I asked my secretary to take some boxes, cut boxes, and put all my books. and they were asking why. I knew that since there is a reshuffle, I'm definitely going.
So you were prepared?
Of course, it didn't worry me, it didn't bother me at all.
And then after the reshuffle, where did you revert to? Back to the simple life, or you're still in politics throughout, actively?
Well, not actively, but I'm still there. You know, I would rather say when President Edi came in, and it was just out of sympathy maybe that he said to people who come to work in the party headquarters. I'm not young anymore, but this is what happened.
But you do believe in young people, that I know.
So we find that the world is now in the hands of young people. Let's look at the United States. People like Obama, they were all below 50, and they took power. In Russia, the same. Putin was not 50 when he took over power. And I name many countries. We moved from the days when only 8-year-olds were considered for higher posts to lead countries and so forth. Look at people like Brezhnev.
Yeah.
So all they could not even talk properly.
Yeah, that's true.
But those were the leaders. So it's all one.
And then, ladies and gentlemen, back to the book. I'm still holding Quiet Flows the Zambezi. Unfortunately, this one is a borrowed copy, but I still have it. So I will be buying mine, and then the Colonel will be signing mine. He will be signing mine. And then on these books, Colonel, I've read one by Tekere, and I'm also reading this one. As most liberation war heroes and war fighters have not written books. What is your message to them?
No, I don't think it's right, because they have so much to leave for future generations. So it's only wise and proper that we should pen our experiences for our future generations. For instance, you see, more if you go to libraries or anywhere, you'll find a lot of books even written about our country. But as I say, they are all written by foreigners, white people, so to say. And yet we are there, we are living, you see. When you write, if they could write, it won't be a hearsay. It will be an experience. You know, it will be more of an experience than a tale told by somebody else.
And then late President Robert Mugabe passed on without giving us this thing. How much, just how much did we lose out? Or do you think we lost out?
I'm not sure whether there's nothing is left. Sometimes people wait until they're dead before their books are produced. Even our president asked me, President Rtd said, how do you write a book when you're still alive? Said, but if I leave it until I'm dead, so I won't be able to defend the book.
So at least now, all right, so that I ask, are there any have there been any misunderstandings over this book? Why I'm asking is there seems to be maybe some sort of second guessing of decisions taken by our government. For example, like the example I gave you on 1 August, you say that we could have done better. We could have reacted in by maybe not using live ammunition. Has the president read it, and does he respect the opinions which are shared in this book?
I'm not sure whether he's read it because I think he's so busy. But he might have probably got some analysis also. You see, I strongly don't believe that a man of his caliber would give an order to shoot a civilian, an armed civilian. I don't think so. Well, I may be wrong, but in my own opinion, I think his maturity cannot allow that. This is why I always doubt. But I think people around him, you see, because tend to give those orders. Because we have Jok who control the army and so forth. Maybe someone in Jok just gave those orders or something. But uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. So anything which is wrong, we point at him.
Right.
Yeah, we're not wrong the people are not wrong to do so because they will say, well, you are the ultimate decision maker. So if something like that happens, it means you are responsible. But he can also not come up and say, I don't know anything about it. But if he says so, then he must have those people punished. He must give orders that those people are arrested and put in cells and so forth. When this doesn't happen, that's when questions come. Why? Yeah, why not?
Viewers, thank you so much for following Newsroom TV. My name is Leopold Munhende. With me is Colonel Tshinga Dube, and I am with his latest offering to my generation and future generations, Quiet Flows the Zambezi. It's a book written candidly, clearly, without fear or favor. So I just want to understand the inspiration and whether or not he has not yet received backlash from those I assume could lend him one or two after he's clearly thought out and clearly presented thoughts in this book. And then just a bit to understand, you are of the assumption that President Emmerson Mnangagwa would not give such an order on 1 August. You have worked with him, I'm sure, since the 1980s and right up to now. And I will respect and I accept that explanation. And then now, if we are to say the people around him could be making these decisions independently, are we not going back to the Mugabe era where there were a few or some individuals around the presidents who influenced some bad decisions.
That's always the case. That's always the case. I always say, look, a president is as good as his own people. People who elect him feel he is the best man to lead them. But you see, rightly so, he has got a cabinet that he works with. He has parliament. In the party side, he has got Politburo, he has got Central Committee, and then he has 25 advisors. So all these people are supposed to be advising him. If they don't do it, then they will all turn around and point fingers at him. But they are there. They have the right. Otherwise, out of fear, some of them are not doing their jobs.
Yeah.
You see? For instance, if you talk of advisors, of course, in my opinion, there are too many. They may cause confusion to the president because I think anything more than 4 advisors are too many, because before you get anyone gives an advice, you must first look after his own interests that they're taken care of. There's nobody who will just advise you just like an angel. No, they must first make sure that their own interests are protected, and that's the wisdom of advice.
Yeah, I'm sure the information ministry and the president will be watching, so they will take 1 or 2. But yabona lapho yakuxoxisa abantu umsebenzi. Ngoba wena uthe there are too many bona be 25. Uthe just about 4, which means 21 will be without a job.
Well, why not? Because we have permanent secretaries. They are technocrats. So there should be advisors to the government as well.
Yeah, sure.
So if they do their work properly, we don't need all those 25 advisors.
And then on the scourge of corruption, which has riddled our country and resulted in us being where we are today,
yes.
What do you think is the solution?
You see, it is very difficult to eradicate corruption, because it's like prostitution. It's an arrangement between 2 people. You don't call a lot of people when you are going to do a corruptive practice. For instance, say I badly need a passport. I need to travel, say, in a few days. And they tell me my passport will take 1 year to come. And then a young boy comes and says, look, give me $300 US. I'll get your passport tomorrow. Then I give him, not because I myself am corrupt, but because the circumstances are such that I must get a passport. I have to travel either for business or so. So those institutions, if they are all properly put in place, the corruption will be controlled. You see? It's not only in Zimbabwe, the whole world. When I lived in Russia, there was a time when there was shortage of meat. But I could see a lot of people having some meat. I said, but where do you get meat from? Then so one boy called me and said, no, just come here. You see, when you go to that butcher, they'll give you must carry a bottle of vodka. Oh. And then, where you just hit they will know what we're talking about. And I did that.
And you were given something?
No, I got there and the man said, meat. It was all dry on the table where they sell meat. Then when I did that, this fellow laughed and said, go to the basement. I found so much meat I've never seen. And I gave him a bottle of vodka. So from that time on, I never had any.
You knew that if I wanted meat, I would just.
Yeah. You see, so I'm just giving an example
Yeah,
of any others.
Yeah.
This happens everywhere. So you cannot, because all these money changers, they don't announce who they will change. It's a man who wants money, and he has got money, and they change that. It's so difficult. It's different, say, from the when you steal from the government, but it's still the same. There's no one who announces that I want, say, a commission of $10 million, $15 million or something for a big project. There will be two closed in a house, and they agree. And the people need money, so it's bound to be there. You can only control it like a chronic disease. You can take tablets to just pacify it, but
you cannot
you're completely eradicate.
I understand. And then maybe we can move over to another interesting topic in Quiet Flows the Zambezi, the issue around Makokova. I know for a fact, I'm from Makokova, and I know for a fact that, or let me say, you seem to have a soft spot for Makokova. I wouldn't know why. You attempted for quite a long time to represent Makokova in Parliament, and eventually you did after a very long time. Why do you think it took so long for you to get into Parliament to represent Makokova, especially after all you have done for the constituents of Makokova?
As I say, people in Makokova are very difficult. Most of them were all MTC, and they continue to be so. If I had gone there as an independent, I would have won very easily. But they didn't like our party at all, and they didn't hide it. They told me that we like you very much, but your jacket is not right. Then I didn't know what they meant, jacket, what. But I realized what they meant was that
the party,
they didn't like the party. You see, so I said I will do everything to make sure these people understand me. They did, and I put in quite a lot of resources and so forth. But it still proved to be very difficult. But there are also criminal elements there. When they found that I had gained so much support, they went to recruit people out in Mguza and everywhere to come and register them as residents of Makokova. If you looked at the registration, you will find in one house maybe 200 people who registered, which clearly showed that they were not Makokova residents. So at the same time, the Rhodes camp, I don't think was very much behind the party.
The police camp.
The police camp. Because when we analyzed the results, we found that where there was a concentration of ZRP and these strangers who came to vote, that's where we lost. Yes. So, but the people in Makokova still understand me very much.
Yeah,
there are some of them were very disappointed because I actually had a passion for them. You know, it's a township with a lot of old people who are helpless, who are just, living by grace of God. They don't work, they may sell a few tomatoes or something, but that's not sustainable.
I can back you on that. People do believe that if you had been an MP, you would have done quite a lot, because already you had invested quite a lot in the constituency. And then, Colonel, you talk of the Kukuraundi, but from the few conversations I've had over this book, people believe you should have given us more.
This is why I put a reference there, that those who want to know more about Kukuraundi must go to the Catholic
Commission on Justice.
Yeah, the Catholic Commission on Justice and Peace. They will do that, because if I begin to narrate all these things, it will be like I'm deliberately opening wounds and I'm inciting people. I don't like that, but let them go to those books which detail these things. I know the Shambahwe, I've gone through that one, and I couldn't finish reading it because I either end up shedding tears or very emotional.
Yeah, sure.
So I wouldn't put those things in.
And then, are you a direct victim of the Kukuraundi? Did you lose anyone?
Yes, I lost an aunt who was very close to me in Matopo. Yeah, they beat her up for having, she assisted soldiers. She sewed their torn trousers and so forth. She sewed their torn trousers, and others came in and beat her up and so forth by logs until she died.
Unfortunately. And then how have you dealt with it over the years?
What?
The loss. I'm asking in the sense that there are quite a number of victims or children of victims who are also in a similar situation, who would want to know how you have dealt with it, so that they can also find closure if of course the environment is suitable, gets suitable.
I think they're still traumatized. Traumatized because if, for instance, both your mother and father were asked to dig a grave and are buried there, how would you feel all your life? It doesn't matter, you cannot forget that. Or some other atrocities that were committed during that time. You know, throwing people into the disused mines, and you know your relative is in that mine. How do you forget? You only forget when you die yourself. But you see, these people have not had any counseling. They just bear it on their own. People who are not affected means nothing to them. It's just one of those things that happened. But those who were directly affected can never forget this, and they will continuously being reminded. Now the president has said we can rebury these people. Now people are busy repairing those. How do you forget it? You can't forget it, you see. They're burying them, they're digging them from shallow graves into proper graves and all these things. It's exactly what I saw in Rwanda.
You were in Rwanda?
Yes, I was in Rwanda. Just after the genocide in 1994.
And then, Colonel, before I close the program, I just have two more questions. The first question, which I'm sure some will be very much interested in, is how do you think the new dispensation has to deal with those who were around the presidency of Robert Mugabe, who are now in exile?
Well, you see, the problem is they don't seem to be remorseful. Now they're coming up with parties and parties, in addition to the 23 that we have. They all want to be president, okay? So if they were remorseful of what they did or what happened, maybe they're not. They could come back and join the society and contribute to the well-being of the society. But now that they're politicians, they have to accept that they will be dealt with politicians, politics is not a very easy game. So they cannot accept to be treated with white gloves. But I personally feel that those who just wanted to join, to come back home and join the population and contribute in their own way. Some of them have good education, where people like what's his name, tourism. Zambi is an engineer. You have some, we have some good education. Jonathan is a professor. Can go back to the university. I don't know others. Even Joao is, I think, specialist in ITC and so forth. So there are a lot of jobs like that. But they all want to, because they all want to be presidents.
Yeah.
The problem is once you test the power, then you think it's your right.
Okay. You no longer want to pass it on?
No.
And we have experienced that for the past 37 years.
Yes.
Of course, you have experienced it for the past 37 years. I was not yet born.
Yes.
And then lastly, viewers, I am talking to Colonel Tshinga Dube, and we are discussing issues around his book, details in his book, Quiet Flows the Zambezi, and also issues, some other issues which are not necessarily in the book. Colonel, as we round off our interview, after reading this book, what do you hope my generation or the future generation gets from this book?
Yes. Zimbabwe has a lot of stories to tell. You can remember that we lost thousands of people during the Liberation War, from bombings in Mozambique and Zambia, Angola, and so forth. Thousands of those people. Those stories are told passively. We want people to tell these stories in detail so that the young people, can know exactly the problems we went through. You see, then the story of our liberation is so big. I was talking to Comrade Chris Mtswangwa a few days ago. He said, now look, yes, we have written a book, but it's mostly, it just covers from the zebra side. But that's not my intention, because this is a biography. When you write a biography, you write what you know best. Like someone, how I grew up, nobody can tell you that except myself. But now we think we can put some good writers together, to give them facts, and they come up with a combined history of former Zipra and former Zanda, because without their cooperation in fighting against the Boers, we would still be in the bush today. But because we all worked to conquer the enemy, we became too powerful for it.
So we would be war veterans. We will also be war veterans.
Yes, you would also be war veterans now.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for following us on New Zim TV. My name is Leopold Munhende. I'm enjoying this book. Where can we get it? From Art Gallery. Okay, it's at the Art Gallery and Bulawayo also, of course.
Yes, in Bulawayo we're still discussing with Art Gallery. Okay. But I'm sure they will be there. Okay.
So for those in Harare, you are very fortunate. It's at the Art Gallery, can get it. It's quite reasonably charged.
Yes.
Yes. The Colonel said everyone can afford it. So I'm sure you get a value for money if you buy this one. Colonel, I'll continue reading this one. I haven't finished it, but it's quite interesting, and I appreciate the fact that I've gained quite a lot, and also I appreciate independent thought, especially considering where you are coming from. Ladies and gentlemen, this was New Zim TV. My name is Leopold Munhende. Thank you so much for following us. You can follow us on Twitter at newzimbabwe.com, and also on on our website, www.newzimbabwe.com. Thank you so much.